Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about total quality management and Six Sigma and how it affects the manufacturing industries. So just going over what I'm talking about today, I'm going to give an introduction to total quality management and Six Sigma. My leading partners in this industry are Toyota, Motorola, Xerox, and then I'll be talking about the quality at Axon case, and then I'll give my final thoughts on everything and what I think the future of these companies are. So, total quality management in Six Sigma. So, what is total quality management in Six Sigma? So, total quality management, as defined by the textbook, is a philosophy that stresses three main principles. These three main principles help companies achieve a high level of process performance and quality. Those three principles being customer satisfaction, employee involvement, and continuous improvement. So these are all very important to total quality management because the main goal of it is to improve the quality of your products, improve the quality of your customers' products that they're receiving, their satisfaction with the project, improve the quality of your employees' involvement. So this can mean that, we're empowering our employees to take pride in their own work. We're empowering them to maintain their own processes, to refine these processes, and to make sure that there's a high level of quality in everything we're doing at the organization, no matter what it is. If it's training, if it's inventory storage, if it's manufacturing, we want high levels of qualities for every single thing we're dealing with. And I think this is one of the most important parts, continuous improvement. So this continuous improvement is essential for our company because with this system, it's very important to have that idea and establishment in your company's culture that we're always improving, that we always want to hit the next goal, hit the end target. We're never stopping. So that's really circles back to that quality. We're always chasing that higher level of quality, that higher level of refinement, that higher level of customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. So Six Sigma shares a lot of these same principles from total quality management. One of the major way it changes from total quality management, it has a more refined thought on analytical data. So it's not just, customer satisfaction, employee, and those like non-metric data. It's really focusing more on those metric data. And if we can get into 6 standard deviations, 6 sigmas away from our mean, our average, if we can keep all our manufacturing processes in that area, because that will be very important when we're manufacturing large amounts of goods, as they do in a manufacturing industry. So it's very important to ensure that, all our functions, all our things are really aiming to stay under 6 sigmas, which I believe is around 68% of our data, because we really want to make sure that all our information, all our data, all our parts, if we have multiple parts making up a project, is staying under there, so we have a less likely chance of defects, which then affect our overall quality of our product. So that's really what Six Sigma is really aiming to do. And total quality management and Six Sigma kind of go hand in hand. Obviously, some industries lean a little more on the analytical side compared to the total quality management side, but they both work very hard to ensure that they are maintaining their processes and maintaining what they mean as a company. So next is challenges companies face implementing total quality management in Six Sigma. So despite, what a lot of people think and say, this is really hard to implement because there's a lot of different pieces, like I mentioned before, that you have to keep in mind when you're implementing these systems. So that being, we want to make sure that all levels of our company, are involved in this. So I listed some challenges. I realize my face is covering the citation. Sorry for that. I pulled these from one of my sources, but it really goes over, some of these key reasons, but these really kind of stem from a fact of your company culture going into the implementation. I think one of the most important parts of total quality management is the employee side and how management interacts with employees. So, if employees don't feel like they can trust their management doesn't really care about their issues and all that, they're going to be less likely to take this big change because we're pretty much disrupting how the entire company operates to implement Six Sigma and total quality management. So that's a big thing. And a lot of these stem from lack of communication and value of our employees. A lot of times companies don't train all their employees. They organize their team of employees before management is fully trained. So when they start to implement these new ideas, these new radical concepts, they really fall behind, and then those teams are focusing on the wrong ideologies. Lack of management involvement. Upper management, this goes, I think, with one of the later points, create a quality steering committee. They really don't like even creating a steering committee that's like separate from everything else in the company, because that tells employees, this is something only managers should care about. This is something different than what I'm doing, and I shouldn't worry about it, which is totally not true. All levels of the organization should be involved in the process, in the learning process of total quality management and Six Sigma. And, that goes with a lot of these, like lack of a measurement system, lack of improvement goals. They're not effectively communicating and educating their employees on what total quality management is. So thus, these companies are failing. And it's really a downfall because a lot of people turn to this system when their company is on the brink of failure. So they really need this to work in order to stay, to not go bankrupt. So them not having these systems in place makes it really, really hard for them to do this. So my first industry partner I'm talking about is Toyota. So at Toyota, they actually implemented this from basically the start of their company. They're originally, I believe, excuse me if I'm wrong, a Japanese company, and this whole idea of total quality management and Six Sigma comes from Japan after World War II. So, they had started implementing this practically from day one of the company because they recognized how important it was to have quality projects and lean management systems in order to make sure that all their products are coming out high quality, quickly, and to customer satisfaction. And this is the chart that they currently have at their company, and you see that foundation of the whole house is respect for their people. If you're not giving your workers a sense of respect and empowerment, then this entire system is going to collapse. It's not going to have a strong foundation. So there's several key moments in Toyota's history that this really stands out. I believe the first one is the 1973 oil crisis, when a lot of manufacturing companies were struggling, and Toyota really showed themselves as being a front runner. So one of the more recent versions of this is the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's something on this chart called just-in-time inventory management. So a lot of people thought when that came out that it meant zero inventory. When you're having a lean system, that means zero or no inventory. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, as we know, supply chains were greatly affected during this time, and car manufacturers weren't able to get the things they need. So Toyota actually got an opportunity to learn this before the 2019 pandemic, and that was because they had a major earthquake on one of their coasts, and it completely disrupted one of their chip communities. So they knew that they needed to stockpile these chips in order to ensure that they were going to have enough to manufacture everything in the long term. So what this means for lean systems and total quality management at Toyota, they're very strong to ingrained in their culture already, and they really want to keep this a continuous improvement. So my next one is Xerox. Xerox is a very special case because they were on the brink of failure before they implemented total quality management. So their recommitment to quality is what was able to help them. They committed training to their employees. They had a very strong system where if you were there more than 10 years, they couldn't fire you without the chair approval. So employees trusted Xerox to implement this system in order to save their company because they knew they had the best interest in heart. And they use a Lean Six Sigma practice today. And they're actually revamping their system. They announced this in January 2024, but they really wanted to, revamp it. But from what I can tell, they're still maintaining those commitment to their employees, commitment to quality, and everything like that. And this is what has constantly saved them. Going back to the core values of total quality management has helped Xerox stay the leading competitor it is today. So my next one is Six Sigma at Motorola. Motorola was actually like the pioneer of Six Sigma. So it mentions this in the textbook, but they used it to start making sure their company wasn't having a lot of defects in their products. So this is because, when we think of a phone, it has a lot of different parts in it. You have chips, you have all this that are coming from a bunch of different manufacturers. And they really wanted to make sure that this defects in their product were way lower than other competitors. So this is really where that stems from. And they also looked at other companies' downfalls. That slide where I talked about most of their downfalls, that comes from Motorola's development of their Six Sigma system, because they were seeing what other companies were doing wrong and went, okay, they're not committing to their employees. We need to do that. They're not training their employees. We need to do that. We need to make sure every employee understands what's the end goal here. And this is really, the core of total quality management and these systems, is that historically they weren't committed to their employees. They were committed to production line optimization and all that. And once they switched to this commitment to their employees, they found that it was a lot better and a lot more profitable than it was before. So quality of action. So what they really did great, which I've pulled from all the other leading industries, is from Motorola. They pulled that black belt training program, which is a way that Six Sigma trains all the managers, all the employees on what Six Sigma is. So they pulled that into their system. They pulled in, so all their employees, like I said, employees are the key part of this, into all levels of their company, and they communicated all their goals to every level of the employee. So this really made them strive. I think some things they could improve on was they did not obviously implement sooner. That would have been great, but I understand, they did do it, and they seem to have picked up the pace pretty quickly. And the other part is I feel like they have a lack of a streamlined feedback process. It says they're using bulletin boards now. I would definitely move to a more computerized process, because this will make sure that employees' voices are being heard immediately. So final takeaways, total quality management is and Six Sigma are really dependent on your employees and your commitment to them. All these companies were able to succeed where they hadn't in the past because they made that switch to commit to their employees and commit to their company. So I think that's really the key values of total quality management and how these companies, changed the entire industry with these practices. So here's my works cited page, and thank you very much. Have a great day, great evening, great rest of the semester. So thank you.